Mitchell.
I've had some disturbing news, sir. Operation Watergate. Security guards busted wide open.
The next 48 hours are gonna be crucial.
I don't know how to put this. We're wondering about your wife.
Y'all gonna just stand around or you wanna ask me some questions?
You worked for Martha Mitchell's husband?
Yeah.
She's completely insane.
Loud mouth.
She's a truth teller.
Unreliable.
I love her.
I'm Sari Cohen with Hollywood First Look. Today we are here talking about the new Starz series Gaslit with Dan and Betty. So nice to meet you two. The first question goes out to both of you. What do you admire most about your character? Betty, let's start with you.
What do I admire most? I think that she is a little ahead of her time. You know, I think that Mo really admires Martha Mitchell, who was someone who just spoke her mind, whether or not the people in the room wanted to hear what she had to say. And I think Mo is trying to do that in her own life and in her marriage. I think the relationship that she has with John, to me, is like, it's almost 30 years in the future or something, the way that they talk and communicate. It sort of put against John and Martha's marriage, it feels like the next step in the evolvement of a step towards gender equality, which I appreciate.
The thing I admire most about my character is his wife.
That's right.
And I think it's an interesting tale of a man who is learning to balance his own individual, selfish, perhaps, ambition with a marriage, a partnership, a teamwork with the woman he's chosen to spend his life with, and watching that evolve. It's an interesting story and an interesting egg to crack. And I was very lucky to have the lovely Betty Gilpin playing her.
So how did you find her? How did you develop her?
I definitely, tried to get as much research as I could, but there's not really many stuff on her that I could find. So I kind of just, used stuff about Martha Mitchell and found out stuff about John Mitchell as much as I could, and kind of had to morph her a little bit into like my own little kind of character, even though she is a real person, because there really was barely anything about her. So it was a little bit more difficult and kind of a lot of pressure too, thinking about that she could watch this show, that real Marty Mitchell could watch this show. But I think that playing a real character, a real person, has been really cool. I'd never done that before.
G. Gordon Liddy, how did you even begin to unravel this character?
Ooh, I'm having a panic attack just thinking about it right now. He's a lot. It was a lot. It was scary to take on for me. Started very broad, obviously, and but ultimately, it's difficult character to take on, but fulfilling, very fulfilling.
I do want to get into the cast. Let's do that first. Tell me about the casting process for you and what that was like.
The casting process, I wrote the show, and I knew the character of Martha was just popped off the page and was great. But I didn't in a million years think we could get Julia Roberts, who was my top pick. And so the producers were, and I were like, well, let's send it to Julia. We'll get a no from her. She'll pass on it, and then we'll get to go on to other people. But we have to go to Julia first. And then a week later, she said yes. But she had one requirement. She wanted to do it with Sean Penn. And it was like, yeah, okay. So I said yes, and that was it. That's all she wrote. That was easy. And then everything kind of fell into place after that. Once you have Julia and Sean, it's everybody wants to work with them, and after working with them, I can see why, because they're just electric on screen together.
I think what is fascinating is the spectrum. In any situation that earns the suffix gate these days, be it Watergate or Partygate or choose a gate. It's the spectrum of idiots around that situation. The it's not one type of person who is attracted to this kind of misdemeanor. There's a whole palette of personality types that sort of flock around these circles of power. And yeah, it's delightful to see a really fantastic ensemble of actors kind of bring that spectrum of characters to life. It's not just one kind of actor playing Washington types. It's like, okay, let's look at the fabric of these, and the patterns of behavior around that are really fascinating. So it's very fun for actors to dive into this kind of stuff.
Gaslit launches on April 24th on Stars. Make sure you check it out. I'm Sari Cohen. I'll see you next time.
Should the Nixon administration be afraid of you? Well, I think you know the answer to that.
Let it go, Martha.
Are there microphones in here?
You rat fuck!
Look, let's just take a breath.
My mama slaps me harder than that.
You don't own me. Don't try to change me.